Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven, and I'm here with my recap and review of The Alienist, Season number 2, Angel of Darkness, Episode number 3, which is titled The Labyrinth. So, this episode opens with Chrysler using hypnosis on Sarah, which makes sense because Chrysler wants to put Senora Linares under hypnosis, and Farah is like, you know what, I can't allow my client to undergo something that I haven't experienced, and I need to make sure that the entire hypnosis thing won't aggravate her trauma already that she has. So the two decided to have Sarah undergo hypnosis, and it kind of works. And yeah, we get to see Sarah remembering certain memories from her childhood. She's running and she's like holding a red balloon, and then her memory ends up taking the wrong turn, and we see that little Sarah has blood on her hands, and Sarah's like, you know what, Chrysler, this is enough. Hypnosis works, so I'll go talk to Senora Linares and let you know what she says. As far as the blood on the child's hand, I'm not really sure. Does it mean that Sarah blames herself for her father's death? Because as far as we know, Sarah's father took his own life with a gun. So I'm not really sure what's this about. Maybe Sarah pulled the trigger, but then again, didn't he die when Sarah was a bit older? Because as far as I can remember, he ended up teaching Sarah how to shoot. So maybe Sarah ended up killing a friend or a sibling, who knows? But then again, I do think that it might be that Sarah blames herself for her father's death because she couldn't stop him from taking his own life. Again, I'm not really sure. Then the scene switches to everyone examining the clothes that the nap baby was wearing, and they figure out that it's not handmade, even though it feels rich. This little baby piece is handmade, so someone sewed it up. And then everyone's wondering who this type of killer could be. Is it a man? Is it a woman? Why are they doing this? And Sarah is like, maybe because that woman's baby died, that's why she's trying to replace her emptiness by kidnapping other children. And Chrysler is like, yeah, that could be it, and maybe it's a cuckoo situation, that at first the mother ends up taking care of the cuckoo in the nest, but then after the cuckoo grows up, she realizes that it's an imposter, and she ends up killing the child. Who knows? So there's a whole lot of questions going on. While everyone's talking, Bitsy comes in, and Bitsy is like, I have something for you guys. Because the Lying In hospital makes use of charity to run its operations, Bitsy decided to go over everyone who has a connection with the Lying In hospital, and Sarah is like, I would like you to let me know who the hosts of the charitable events are. And Bitsy goes through the names, and one of the names sticks out to John, and John is like, yeah, I know that family. So Sarah is like, you know what, I want you to help me make contact with your friend. His name is Ogden, because I have a favor to ask. Turns out that Ogden and John are into fencing, and Sarah comes to visit Ogden, and Sarah is like, Ogden or Augie, I want your help to get me a meeting with Dr. Marco. Now we know that John still has feelings for Sarah, and while she was talking to Ogden, yeah, you could see that John's feeling a bit jealous. Then the scene switches to the Lying In hospital, and we see that Helen is being taken to her room, and she ends up asking Dr. Marco about her baby, and Dr. Marco is like, I'm sorry, Helen, your baby is with the angels. Your child died. And Helen is like, no, you're lying, because I heard my child crying. And then the matron ends up injecting a sedative into Helen, and we get this new character by the name Libby, and Dr. Marco asks her to like roll Helen over into her room. So Sarah's walking around the Lying In hospital, and she's going through the wards, and I'm like, Sarah, you're going to get caught. She's very worried about the kind of patients that she's seeing. Then she walks to the maternity ward, and yeah, it's not good. The entire visual, these women are not being treated fairly or respectfully. And while she's snooping around, the matron comes in, and matron is like, oh, you must be lost. Why are you even here? And Sarah's like, I'm here because I have a meeting with Dr. Marco. And the matron is like, you know what, I'll take you there. And then we have a scene where Marco and Sarah are having a talk, and Marco recognizes her because in the first episode she was there during Martha Knapp's execution. And this is where Sarah tells Marco that, you know what, of course we suspect you. I want to know what happened to Martha Knapp's baby on the night that that the baby was kidnapped. There has to be a file, there has to be a report. And Dr. Marco is like, yeah, no, because the people who work there aren't necessarily mentally stable, and they can't be reliable witnesses. And he basically shuts Sarah's questions down, and Sarah's like, you know what, if you are going to act like this, I would like to visit Martha Knapp's room. And Marco is like, you know what, go ahead. The matron takes Sarah into Martha Knapp's room, and there are other women there already. Sarah asks matron about any medical file because apparently the matron is like, Martha Knapp had an infection, so she had to be isolated. And Sarah is like, you know what, if she had an infection, I would like to see her medical records. And the matron is like, I can't give medical records to anyone who asks for them. Anyway, Helen's bleeding out, and of course the matron isn't happy about it, so she goes to get the doctor, and Libby's there. And this is where Sarah ends up asking Libby questions about Martha Knapp, and Libby is like, you know what, everyone's lying. Of course, Sarah wants to know more, and the doctor comes in, so Libby and Sarah have to walk out. And this is where Sarah asks Libby to help her, and Libby is like, I can't help you. But Sarah's like, you know what, it will be greatly appreciated if you can help me. And Libby's like, yeah, no, I can't help you. Before Sarah leaves, she goes into another ward, and Libby is trying to delouse another patient of hers. And then Colleen is standing there, and the matron comes in, and she is like, Colleen, the doctor wants to see you. And of course Colleen doesn't want to, and you can tell that, yeah, something bad's happening. And even Sarah is like, if Colleen doesn't want to go and meet Dr. Marcos, then she shouldn't have to go. And the matron is like, yeah, I would prefer that you don't stick your leg into situations that you aren't involved in, basically. And yeah, Colleen has to go, but before she goes, she ends up stabbing the knife into one of the little tables, the little surgical wheeling tables. And yeah, she's clearly unhappy about having to meet Dr. Marcos. The scene switches to Laszlo attending the burial of the Knapp baby, and yeah, the baby is buried with the mother, and I'm like, oh, this is sad. We see the twins trying to figure out what the Knapp's baby's stomach had. And this is also where we know that Burns ended up talking to one of the brothers, and of course that brother is feeling guilty, and he wants to say something to his brother, but he can't. Anyway, this is where these two figure out that the Knapp's baby had poison, charcoal, as well as breast milk in the stomach. Sarah decides to take her chances with Libby, and she invites Libby to lunch. And the two start talking, and Libby is again like, I can't really help you. I can't give you the answers that you're looking for. Anyway, as far as my opinion is concerned, the actress who's playing Libby, she reminded me of how Nicole Kidman usually acts. So that's just something I wanted to share. Anyway, these two bond over the fact that both of their fathers took their life. Sarah's father ended up shooting himself, while Libby's father ended up hanging from a bridge. Before Libby leaves, Sarah asks Libby about Senora Linares' baby and how that baby came to the lying-in hospital. And Libby is like, yeah, that baby came here, but then the baby was discharged. And Sarah tells Libby about how that baby has been kidnapped, and that's why she needs Libby's help. And this is where Libby tells Sarah that the matron was the one who took care of Senora Linares' baby, and the matron didn't allow any other nurse to attend to the baby. So yeah, she should look into the matron. Libby ends up giving the matron's address to Sarah, and Sarah goes to check on the matron's apartment, and she tries to go in. And this is where the landlady comes in, and she is like, what are you doing here? And Sarah is like, I'm a friend of the matron's, and I'm here to check on her. And we find out that the matron's name is Mary, and apparently she can't have her children of her own, and occasionally she does bring babies home, and of course Sarah is like, yup, that's not good. Then we have this weird scene where the matron is trying one of Helen's new dresses, and Helen is like, what are you doing? And matron is like, yeah, your boyfriend or whatever sent this dress, and you don't mind that I'm checking it out, right? And yeah, Helen isn't feeling well, and the matron is clearly crazy. So apparently Libby wants to help Sarah, so she breaks into Dr. Marcus's office and she takes the nap file. But before she can come out, she notices that Dr. Marcos and Mr. Burns are coming towards the office, so she hides. This is where Dr. Marcos tells Burns that he isn't happy about Sarah snooping around, and Burns like, Dr. Marcos, I have to ask you something. You don't have any connection with the missing Lanaris child, right? And Dr. Marcos like, no, I don't have any connection to that child. And Burns like, you know what? Okay, if you say so, but I'll see to Sarah and her detectives. The scene changes to V coming to John's office because she wants him to give her the guest list. And John ends up handing her the list, and Sarah's in there, and V is like, why is Sarah's name written down alone? Put her down for two, because of course she'll be bringing someone. And I'm like, okay, I understand that John wants to settle down, but he clearly has feelings for Sarah, and not being truthful to V isn't helping the matter. Sarah goes to meet Laszlo, and Laszlo is attending to one of his children patients, and it turns out that this kid, whenever his childhood trauma is on the verge of taking over him, his entire body shuts down. So Laszlo is trying to make him feel happy. Anyway, Sarah appreciates how much work Laszlo is doing with the children, and this is also where she tells him about Libby and how Libby might be able to help them. And before leaving, Sarah tells Laszlo that Senora Linares is okay with being put under hypnosis. Laszlo does put Senora Linares under hypnosis, and the first thing she remembers is a painting, and Laszlo is like, you know what, let's go outside in your hypnotic vision. And she goes outside. However, the trauma is so much for Senora Linares that she can't really explain it in words, and this is where she faints. Marcus ends up telling Isaac that Chief Burns came to visit him, and then he threatened him, and he ended up telling Burns about the missing Linares baby, and he begs his brother not to tell Sarah and the others. So Sarah, Laszlo, and John are trying to figure out how to make Senora Linares remember the day when her child was kidnapped. And this is where John is like, why don't we allow Linares to paint her memories? And Laszlo is like, you know what, that's a good idea. Sarah decides to talk to a teacher of Senora Linares. She's an art teacher, and Sarah is like, Senora Linares thinks of you greatly, so will you help us access her memories through art? And the teacher is like, you know what, okay, I'll do it. And I think her name is Cecilia, and maybe she was a real person. I'm not really sure. So Senora Linares undergoes hypnosis again, and this time she is able to paint her memories, and we get a painting of the tea house in the park. And Senora Linares tells everyone that that day she could feel that someone was watching her, and they need to figure out who that person was. Sarah decides to go to the park with one of her employees, and she notices the photographer, and Sarah is like, you know what, we need to look through all of the photographs that photographer took on that day. When Sarah comes back to her detective agency, Libby is waiting for her, and Libby hands her Martha Knapp's file, and Sarah, of course, is very happy about it, and Libby is like, I'll come back to take the file from you tomorrow. So it's John's bachelor party, and you can tell that John isn't really into it, and John doesn't like all of the extravagance and so many people around him. And this is where John decides that, you know what, I would like to have this gathering be more intimate. John and Laszlo decide to invite Sarah as well, and you know what, I really enjoyed a drunk Laszlo. Yeah, Daniel Bruhl ended up acting quite well, and Sarah is like, okay, I'll come with you guys. While they're on the horse carriage to John's new location where his bachelor party would continue, this is where Sarah tells John and Laszlo about the file that she got and how a whole lot of people who are working in the Lion in hospital came there while pregnant, and apparently and they have been working there ever since. And Sarah is like, you know what, I would like to send Bitsy undercover there. And John realized it was what Sarah is talking about, and John is like, okay, so you need another favor from Ogden, and Sarah is like, yeah, I do, because that favor would be a recommendation letter from the Ogden family for Bitsy so that she can have employment at the Lying In hospital. So everyone's at Cyrus's bar and they're having fun, they're catching up, and even Ogden is like, okay, so you need another favor from me, and Sarah's like, yeah, Ogden, I do. And Ogden is like, I'm really interested in what kind of article you're helping John research. And Sarah's like, okay. So John told Ogden that she's working for him. Anyway, Ogden asked Sarah if he can invite her to dinner sometime, and Sarah's like, yeah, you can, Ogden. This is also where we get to see that Cyrus isn't happy about his daughter working at the bar because his daughter is quite smart. She's studying law and she wants to write, and John is like, you know what, Cyrus, I'll put a word in at the New York Times and we'll see if we can get her a job. And of course, Cyrus is very happy about it. Then the scene moves to Laszlo giving a toast, and he's happy about John settling down and falling in love with Vi and marrying her, and he wishes him all the best. Now the episode closes with the woman who kidnapped the child picking the child up and breastfeeding the child, and I'm like, this is so creepy. But yeah, only like a few more episodes are left. I think this series will come to an end in August, in like 2 weeks, because 2 episodes are airing every week. I'll have the recap and review of the 4th episode up on the YouTube channel soon enough, and of course I'll be doing a written review of both episodes as well. The link to the written review will be down in the comment section below as soon as it goes up. Let me know what you thought of episode number 3. I really enjoyed it. It was very Sarah centric and I enjoyed that. I'm a fan of Dakota Fanning, and yeah, I really want to know who the murderer is, who the kidnapper is. Is there more than one person involved? I would like to know. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the episode. Until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.